What's up, planner babes? It's your girl Cam, and I am back with another video. Today I'm coming at you with a video talking about stamping. So I'm going to give you my top 7 tips for stamping in your planner. Okay, so recently I have started stamping in my Hobonichi Cousin, which is my creative planner that I use for keeping up with my activities for the day and also journaling, collaging. Really a great place for me to express myself, write poetry, but also keep up with my schedule. I started stamping in here and I really enjoyed it. And I had several questions about stamping in the comment section of my last video. So I wanted to come in and give you some tips if you're new to stamping, or if you have some stamps and you're not quite sure how to use them. I want to give you some tips because stamping is, it's an interesting, it is an interesting art form, an interesting art medium. So I do want to give you some tips before you jump into it. Okay, so if you want to hear my top 7 tips for stamping in your planner, just stick around. Okay, so if this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. I do hope you find some inspiration here and that you will consider hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of the fun right here on this channel. Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about stamping. So for a long time, I was a very heavy stamper. I used stamps on greeting cards. I sent cards out to my family. I used stamps in my scrapbooks. And I love stamping. It's a beautiful way to decorate pages in your planner, scrapbook, memory planner, journal. So let's talk about tip number 1, where to find stamps. Okay, so you can find stamps in lots of different places. I got these stamps from Mommy Lay. She has her own set of stickers and she has her own website where you can get the did I say stickers? I meant stamps. She has her own line of stickers and stamps. We're talking about stamps today. She has her own line of stamps. They're absolutely beautiful. They work very well. You can go over to her channel and watch her use her stamps in her planner. So Mommy Lay is one company that sells them. Planner Society also has stamps as well. I have a couple from them. When I used to get their subscription box, the stamps came in the box. This is more Mommy Lay here. LOL has a set of stamps, which is what I used in my last spread that you may have seen. And this came from Hobby Lobby, so you can get these stamps, the LOL stamps from Hobby Lobby. Happy Planner has a set of stamps in the Wrong collection. I don't have those here, but they do have them. You can get those either online. I think they have them at Hobby Lobby, at Joann's, at Michael's. You can check for the Wrong stickers at different craft stores. Okay, you can also get lots of stamps or find lots of stamps just by doing a Google search. Okay, and looking for acrylic stamps or rubber stamps. These are acrylic, the see-through kind, and these are rubber. And the rubber ones come in gray. They come in a reddish orange color. I'll show you one real quick. They come looking like this. And for these, you have to have a special piece to make these work. And I showed it in my last video. And I was able to renew this little piece just by taking some packing tape and going across this little sticky piece. It's very sticky. You see that? I was able to revive the stickiness of it by just using a piece of packing tape. It took all the film off of the top. And then I used a piece of the back of a sticker sheet that still has that slickness on the top of it, and I covered it up with that. Okay, so you'll use this kind of sticky surface to place your rubber stamp down, and this is how you will be able to use it. You'll ink this surface up and then stamp. All right, so these rubber stamps require an additional step. See how sticky that is now? But it requires an additional step for you to be able to use them. So you want to know whether you are purchasing a rubber stamp or an acrylic stamp. either one of these types is going to require an acrylic block. The acrylic blocks you can get from Michael's, Joann, Hobby Lobby in their stamping section. And they're pretty reasonably priced, and they come in lots of different, I'm trying to find my other one, they come in lots of different shapes and sizes. I don't see my other block on my desk right now, but I have several different sizes of the acrylic block. This is the largest one that I have. Okay, here's another one. And this is like the medium size. And then there's smaller ones than this. So you can get these from your craft stores as well. The other thing that you can do is simply, like I said, Google acrylic stamps, depending on which one you want to use, acrylic stamps or rubber stamps, and you'll come up with lots and lots of hits on that. These particular stamps that I have been using come from Stamping Bella. Each of these little dolls has a name. This one is Spousa Bella. They have things like Bikini Bella, Hula Bella, but I will link Stamping Bella's shop down below in the description box. And then there is a company called Rubbernecker Stamps, which is where I got this one from. They are located in the UK. So if you order these, it will take a little bit longer for them to arrive to you if you live in the States. But they do have a wide selection of stamps. Now, you know me, I love diversity. Representation matters. I love to see lots of different people, ethnicities, cultures, races represented in the products that I buy. I love it when companies have a diverse platform. So Rubbernecker Stamps does have a diverse platform. I got this from them, and they do have a lot to choose from. And I think I linked it in my last video, but I'll link it again. Rubbernecker Stamps. So that should give you a good start on where to get stamps from. You have Mommy Lay, Hobby Lobby, Planner Society, Rubbernecker Stamps, Planning Bella, or not Planning Bella, Stamping Bella, Stamping Bella, and then you have Etsy is the last thing I'm going to say. You can go to Etsy and just search planner stamps or just rubber stamps or acrylic stamps, and you will find a nice selection of stamps over there as well. Okay, so that was tip number one, where to find the stamps. I hope that helps you out. Number two is get the right kind of ink for your planner paper. Now this is very important because every planner has different paper on the inside of it. This year I am mostly using Hobonichi paper, and the Hobonichi paper is very, very thin. So there are certain mediums that you do not want to use on Hobonichi paper. I mean, if you do not like shadowing in your planner, or even a tiny, tiny bit of bleed through in your planner, and you have a Hobonichi, then you don't want to do stamping because it is going to shadow, and even sometimes it might bleed through a little bit onto the next page. So this is the setup that I did last week. This is the page for this week. And it did have a little bit of shadowing and just the tiny, tiniest bit of bleed through in some areas, depending on how hard I pressed these stamps down. Now, for me, I don't mind that. That doesn't bother me. To me, that adds to the charm of the planner. And I know that I can go in the following week and cover those places with stickers because I want to alternate. You can look right here and see where it has shadowed through right here, where I put in a checklist last week. You can see it shadowing there. I'm not worried about that because I'm going to write in these sections and you'll never even really see it. And even if you see it and it bothers you, it's not going to bother me. It's not going to bother me. But that is a hint for you that you have to be careful about what kind of paper your planner has, and be aware of what kind of ink you're using for that particular paper. Now, I am using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is what I had on hand, and so this is what I used. And it did shadow through a little bit. I used to have StazOn ink. I don't have any with me right now, but I used to use StazOn ink a lot because StazOn ink will not run when you color on it, and it will not bleed when you use different types of markers on it. So I used to have StazOn. I don't have any right now. I may get some more later. But Stays On is something else you might want to look into if you want to use stamps and you want to color on your stamps. Okay, but for now I am using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. You can get this from Michael's, from Hobby Lobby, from Joann's, lots of different places carry this ink, and I'm sure you can get it from Amazon as well. But that's what I'm using here on my Hobonichi Cousin. Now, let's talk about different planners that you might want to use your stamps on. I have several different planners. So let's talk about how the Memento Tuxedo Black ink would work on those planners. All right, here's my happy planner. I'm using this one as a faith journal. I'm going to go to the back and just grab a piece of paper from the back, and I'm just going to practice stamping on it. So let's grab my acrylic block, and I have this one that says Carpe Diem, and I just want to see if this ink is going to bleed through. I'm just going to put it down. I'm going to rock it back and forth a little bit. I'm not going to move it, but I'm going to rock it back and forth a little bit and pull it straight up. I'm not going to pull it to the side. That's going to cause it to smear. Okay, so this looks good on the front side. Let's turn it over and see what it's doing on the back. So it's a little bit of shadowing. I don't know if you can see that, but not very much. And this is standard Happy Planner paper. Now, tip number 3. Let the ink dry. Using stamps is not something that you can just do in a hurry, real quick, throw it in your purse and keep going. If you're going to use stamps, it needs to be at a time when you have got time to leave your planner open and let it air dry, let it get some air, let it breathe, and then come back and write on it and or color on it. This is not something that you want to rush to do, because we pay lots of money for these planners, and you don't want to damage your planner by just closing it immediately and letting that ink bleed over heavily onto the other page. All right, so that was tip number 3. Let your ink dry. But let's go on to another planner paper. That was the Happy Planner, and it did well, and it didn't bleed through. It shadowed just a little bit. I do have an Erin Condren. I've never used it on this channel, but isn't she cute? Little coil planner with the beautiful flowers on it. Has pieces of plans on it. Yeah, but she never made it to this channel. She didn't make it. She didn't make it. So I wanted to know how these stamps would hold up with the Erin Condren paper, because I haven't used an Erin Condren in a long time, so I wasn't really sure. So I want to find a relatively blank piece of paper. There's not much of it in this planner in the back. Let's go to where it says contacts. I won't be using a contact page. So let's just grab this Carpe Diem sticker again. Not sticker, I keep saying sticker, stamp. Grab the Carpe Diem stamp one more time. And the reason I keep inking up my stamps so much is because these stamp pads are old. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I have not used these stamp pads in, I know, at least 5 years, maybe even more than that. But that's why I keep putting the ink on there. If you buy a brand new stamp pad, it will not require you to stamp it that much. You can probably hit it once or twice and it should be inked up pretty well. Okay, so you won't have to ink yours up as much if you get a new stamp pad, but let's just stamp it right here. It looks good. And let's turn it over. I know this is not going to bleed. Well, this is not going to bleed through. Well, there is just a tiny, tiny bit of shadowing, just a tiny, tiny bit, but this is some really thick paper. So this can hold up to a lot of stamping. So if you have an Erin Condren, you could stamp your heart out in here, because it's not gonna bleed through. You will see a little tiny bit of shadowing, but that's about it. All right, so that's the Erin Condren. And I'm gonna leave my planner open. I'm not gonna close it. Next, I have a Recollections. Again, I've never shown this on my channel. And this is still good. This is still this is an 18-month planner, 2019, 2020. So I might do some plan with me's in here, but this is a horizontal, and I don't know. But anyway, let's try the stamp in the back on some scrap paper. And we'll just see how this ink holds up with this paper. Just going to stamp it on the side, rock it back and forth. It looks good. And this is thinner paper from the Erin Condren, and you do see a little bit of shadowing on there. I don't know if you can tell. Not bleed through, but a little bit of shadowing. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you have the right kind of ink for whatever planner you are going to be using. And that was tip number 2 and 3. Remember, 3 was let your ink dry. Tip number 4 is what we just did, practice on scrap paper. So if you decide to use stamps and you do not want to go into your planner full swing, just inking your stamps up and going right into your page, stamping on your page. Stamping is not a perfect medium to work in. Sometimes your stamping will come out beautiful, sometimes it will come out looking wonky. I mean, it just depends. It depends on how you hold your hand, how you stamp it, how you ink it up. It's not too sensitive, but sometimes, you know, mistakes can be made. So you want to make sure that you practice on scrap paper before you go full swing into your real planner pages. Okay, so that is tip number 4. Tip number 5 is choosing the right coloring medium. Okay, so let's talk about that, because in my Hobonichi Cousin, I colored my image with mild liners, and there's a reason for that. So let me just ink this image up. This is a Mommy Lay image, and it's just the outline. I'm going to stamp it right here. And then I might do a couple of different images so we can talk about the different ways that you can color your images in your planner. So I used the mild liner, but I did let it dry first. Okay, I think I let it dry for probably 30 minutes or more. I told you that in my video, but I didn't show you that because I went to pick my son up from work and I came back, and by the time I did all of that, it was enough time for the ink to dry. So that is one thing that I mentioned before. That was tip number 3, let your ink dry. After your ink has dried, then you might want to color your images. The reason I used the mild liner in my Hobonichi Cousin is because this will not bleed through the paper. It doesn't smear a whole lot. It might smear just a little tiny bit, but it doesn't smear a lot. Okay? So I'm going to show you how this works. I have not let this dry too much, so it may smear a little bit, but you do want to let your ink dry before you get into it. It's doing well. It's doing okay. So with the mild liner in the Hobonichi Cousin, it's not going to bleed through a whole lot. That's the reason why I used it in my planner. Oh, that is so cute. She looks so cute. Let's give her some lavender hair. Okay, so I'm coloring right on top of these ink lines, and it's not smearing at all. And I have let it dry for a few seconds. Now, even with this, you don't want to go too heavy-handed. You just want to get the area colored and move on to the next area. You don't want to saturate it, oversaturate the area with ink. All right, let's do one more little piece. Let's color her dress a different color purple. All right, so this is kind of showing you how the, I'm going to color it yellow or peach. All right, so this is giving you an example of how the mild liners work on the Memento black ink. Okay, so the type of ink you use makes all the difference. If you use a different type of ink, you might not get the same result. Okay, but the reason I use this one is because it would not bleed through. The second one that you could use is, the second medium you could use is gel pens. Now, the reason I did not use gel pens is because gel pens smear. They smear in the Hobonichi Cousin. Period, point blank, they smear. I have never used them in my Hobonichi Cousin because I've seen several videos and every video showed it smearing. So this is not something I would use in my Cousin, but I'm going to show you how it looks. Oh, I thought this was brown. This is more gold. Let's try this dark brown. Okay, so I want to show you how this color is going to look, and I'm still in the Recollections planner. Okay, so we're going to use that, and I'm going to show you right now that it's going to smear. You see that? That is why I don't use the gel pens in my Hobonichi Cousin, because they will smear. And it takes them a long time to dry. I'm not saying that you can't use these. It's just an issue of you need to let this ink dry for a good little while before you close your planner, before you write on top of it. I'm giving her dark purple hair, just to kind of show you how this will work. And of course, if I was really doing this in my real planner, I would be a little bit more careful. But I'm just giving you an example of how this is going to smear. So I just colored it, and I'm actually going to wait. I'm going to wait till I move down and color these other ones in so you can see how long it takes the gel pen to dry. It takes a long time. All right, the next medium you can use to color your stamps is pencil. Colored pencil. And this is something that, again, I don't really recommend this one because of the color transfer. So gel pen will transfer and colored pencils will also transfer. Let me find a nice little skin tone. The color on the colored pencil looks lovely. You can get some nice shading on it. My only issue with the colored pencils is that once you close this book, it's going to, oftentimes it will transfer color onto the opposite page. And that does not make me happy. When that happens in my planner or in my coloring books, that does not make me happy. So I don't really know how to prevent that, other than somebody said that you could put Mod Podge on it. I don't know if you want to put Mod Podge in your planner. I used some vellum in between the sheets in my coloring book that I colored. I just put a piece of vellum between the two sheets. So again, I don't know if you want to do that in your planner, but this is how it will look if you color with colored pencil. But my only issue is the color transfer. Let's see if it will do it when I close the book. I don't know if it happens right away or if the color transfer happens over time, but let's just see what happens when I close this page. Let's just see what happens when I close this page, if it will transfer any color. This may be something that happens over time. It might not happen right away. Other thing, see, this is the gel. The gel pen transferred color over here because it wasn't dry. The colored pencil did not do that yet. I don't see anything yet, but I do know that over time, this colored pencil is going to transfer some color over here. Okay? Okay, so my recommendation, especially if you have a Hobonichi, is to use the mild liner to color your stamps. Okay? If you know of something else that you can use to color stamped images, oh, also watercolor. Watercolor could work as well. And it might shadow through, but I don't think it'll bleed through a whole lot. So watercolor also works in a Hobonichi. I have not done that, but I have seen people do it. So if you know of another medium that you could use to color stamps, in a Hobonichi especially, because that's what I have, let me know. Okay, but these are the different types of ways that you can color your stamped images, and my recommendation is the mild liner because it's not bleeding, it has nice color, and I have 15 different colors, and I think there are larger packs than this that you can buy on Amazon that have an even broader range of colors. Okay, so that's my recommendation. You could use pencil, but I'm nervous about it transferring color onto the other paper. All right, so that is choose the right coloring medium. That is tip number 5, choosing the right coloring medium for your planner paper. All right, tip number 6 is cleaning your stamps. How to clean your stamps. Okay, so we have used this little girl stamp and this Carpe Diem stamp several times. Where did it go? So let's talk about how we clean it. So here's the Carpe Diem. It's got ink on it. So what you're going to use is baby wipes or makeup remover wipes. Okay, I have makeup remover wipes here, and you just want to take one and just go on top of your stamp just like that. And it removes the ink very easily, very quickly, no problem. You do want to let that dry though, because now it's wet, it's been saturated, so you want to let that dry. So you can do this with the makeup wipe or with baby wipes. Either one of those will work. You can also clean your hands, clean the ink off of your hands with this as well. Okay, so that was tip number 6, I think, cleaning your stamps. And tip number 7 is going to be very, very easy. And my last tip for you with stamping in your planner is just have fun. Okay? Just have fun with it. Once you figure out which stamps you want, which type of ink you want to use, and you get all of your stamps together and you're ready to go, have fun with it. Your planner, to me, if you are a decorative planner, your planner should be a place for you to have fun, relax, plan your week, be creative. So my last tip for you is get in here and try some new things and just have fun. Okay, so those were my top 7 tips for you on using stamps in your planner, and I hope that you got some good information that you can use if you are planning on using stamps in your planner in the upcoming weeks and months. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope that you found some inspiration in it, and if you did, give me a big thumbs up down in the section below this video. If you're not already a part of the Piece of the Plans fam, take a moment, hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell, and let me know down in the description box if you are using stamps already in your planner or if you are planning to use them in the upcoming weeks. All right, I hope you have a great week, planner babes. I hope it's full of love, joy, and most of all, peace. I'll see you next time.